The top 3 accommodations that I share with students when I go on an author visit or I'm talking to students about dyslexia in general. So first, I ask what is an accommodation to the students, and I have them kind of either guess or tell me what they know about accommodations when it comes to education and learning. Sometimes students will say it's a tool and helps them with learning. I always love hearing what students say about accommodations because I think it's something that is rarely discussed or talked about. The third top accommodation that I share with students is audiobooks. This is something that I love to talk about because it hopefully helps students understand that yes, audiobooks count as books. You are reading the story, you are understanding the story through the audiobook. And actually my favorite way to read is listening to the audiobook and having either the physical copy or an ebook with me as I read. And sometimes I listen to it up to 3 times the speed. And sometimes if we have time at an author visit, I will play a little bit of an audiobook for them to hear how fast that truly is. And that I don't start at 3 times the speed, I build up slowly. I also share with students that the audiobook of my children's book, my first one, is my own voice. I put it in there because it has a part where Darcy is struggling to read, and I really wanted to make sure that that came across authentically. And so that's why I ended up doing mine. And sometimes for author visits, I will actually play the audiobook. It's me reading it. It's just not me physically there reading it. On the slide, I show them a variety of books that I have personally read through audiobooks and share that these are just some of my favorites. I've read many, many books through audiobooks. My second accommodation I share with them is actually something that they're pretty used to. It is the text-to-speech feature on most phones, or I think probably at this point, almost every phone. I show them the little icon that pops up so that they can see this is exactly what I'm talking about. And even if I'm not texting, I will still sometimes use it with my phone when I'm trying to type something. So if I don't know how to spell something and I can't figure out how to even look it up because the spelling is not going to be correct to find it, I will press that button, speak into my phone, and maybe I do the full sentence to make sure that it's used in the proper context and spelled correctly. And then I just type it back onto my computer or whatever I'm working on. I have found in more recent years that I actually use this feature a lot more often on my phone, especially when sending out an email or anything like that through the device, because it's just the easiest way for me to get my ideas across. And before I go into the final one, I also share the accommodations that I used in school that I not necessarily use all the time now, but I definitely were essential for me being able to learn while I was still learning in school as elementary or middle or high school or college. One of them is testing outside the classroom. I would have all of my finals outside of the classroom, even a vocab test, whatever it may be, were all outside the classroom. And that was really important to me because I wasn't stressed about when my classmates were finishing and I was able to focus solely on my test. I also had them read aloud sometimes. Something that's really important to share with the students is that I had preferential seating, which means I get to choose where I sat in class, or at least have some sort of preference on where I wanted to sit, and I always chose the front or second row. And I share that with students to say that it may not be what is expected. Like a lot of people would try to get to the back. It was the best place that I could learn, and I knew that, and so I chose those seats because to me learning was the most important part of it. And I hope that at least gives someone the confidence to say yes, like that, those are the seats I want. Even though my peers may not understand, I know what is important for me and I choose to do that anyway. Extra time is something that I had as well, and so I talked to the students about, yes, it is great to have extra time to be able to do it, but I would also miss other classes because if I had an entire class period to finish something in high school, I would have time and a half. And so maybe I would go into my next class the entire half late, and then I'd have to make up that work. And so it's kind of doing even more work to have to make it up. So as amazing as extra time is and how much I needed it, it also made me do more work on the long end. Also share that I was able to use a calculator, and that is something that was essential because math facts are still something that I will switch up today. And so I'm not doing the answers on the calculator. If it was a smart calculator and I wasn't able to use it, then I just used a normal one. And that was enough for me because that's all I needed. I had a tutor and I was pulled out for a recess or a lunch every single week to improve my reading ability and how important that was for me. And I also spent summers at the library once a week doing tutoring too. And finally, I share my number one accommodation with students, and that is asking for help. And I have the students guess on what they think my number one accommodation is that I use, and a lot of schools will get to the point where I call on so many students that they answer this. And sometimes it's the first one and sometimes it's 10th guess. But yes, asking for help is something that is so essential, whether it is friends, family, teacher / coach, or really anyone that can help you with whatever you need. It's important to ask for help during those times. And I hope that it inspires at least one kid to be able to have that confidence to go talk to their teacher. I was very fortunate that I felt comfortable to do that with my teachers, and I also share after that to pass it forward. And so it may not be directly to that same person, but I do my best. Even though I'm asking for a lot of help, I try to give a lot of help as well. And the bonus one I'm going to share with you on this video is that I wish I had this accommodation in college and university, because it would absolutely been a game changer. And I didn't even know about this until after I had graduated, but there are some universities that allow students to change deadlines on assignments or tests and things like that, depending on your schedule. And so if you have 2 different projects, you can have one class move it to a different deadline so that they're not on the same day. There was multiple times where I had due dates on the same timeline, and it made it very, very challenging to get assignments done on time. And I think that this would have been an absolute game changer. So if you are still in college or about to go to college, or whoever in your life is, tell them about this accommodation and see if their university will do it, because it is a complete game changer.